today, people think that if they do the same thing, they're going to get the same result. Because it's been, wildly successful in banking and mortgage over the last, 10 years. Things have changed, and you have to think differently. You have to evolve as a company. You have to evolve your technology. You have to always be willing to want more and ask questions and look for more, and then also be willing to do it.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Jon Hill. He's the Enterprise Sales Director at Total Expert. Jon, welcome to the show.
Hey Kelsey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Jon, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, 46 years old, girl dad of two girls, which nothing in life can prepare you for that if you're a father with all boys in the family. So it's an interesting challenge, but born and raised in Detroit, Detroit bred, Detroit raised, Detroit through and through, sports teams, avid, hockey player and golfer, and been in the mortgage industry for 22 years and love all the aspects of that in the financial services industry.
Love it. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
So, tell me a little bit about how you got to Total Expert and, what you guys do at Total Expert.
Yeah, what a journey. So 22 years ago, I was actually working at a country club, and a gentleman that was there at the country club owned a title company. And I didn't know anything about title. Nobody in the world wakes up one morning and says, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to go to the mortgage industry. I think I'm going to be a title guy. I think I'm going to serve or write mortgages. Like, this is not a industry where people go to school and wake up and be like, that's the path I'm going to follow, right? So I had a connection. Somebody was looking for a sales rep, and I wanted to kind of leave the golf industry because it's it's a very rigorous industry. It's summers suck. Winters can be, long, and, got to get out of that. So I was looking to get out, and he brought me in and kind of taught me what the industry was about, taught me the process and the title side of things, but also taught me the process in the mortgage side. And so to this day, a mentor, one of the most fantastic people that I've ever met in my life, hold him near and dear to my heart. He passed away a few years ago. But one of the greatest human beings I've never met. And I have to thank him for doing what I get to do today, because it led me to Total Expert. But 11 years in title, 12 years in title, was local here in Michigan for a while, then went national, and decided that I wanted a little bit more because title's kind of boring. It's really not innovative. There's nothing there. And took the challenge and went over to an excellent company called experience.com with Scott Harris and the fine people over there. Was one of the first quarter of their company. Probably, I think it was like employee number 20 or 26, and grew my way into that. But I've always looked at Total Expert as, when they started out and when I first noticed them, as a company that I wanted to run with. I loved the CEO's vision. The people were, and the culture that they had here, from afar. They showed up and they wanted to win. And that's, to me, I'm a very competitive person. Winning means, winning cures everything. Yeah. And so, went to a few different companies, with leadership positions. And right before COVID, and nobody knew that COVID was going to happen, but right before COVID, I reached out and said, okay, I would love to come over. And we put it together. I was the only sales rep that was hired in COVID, but came over here in May of 2020 and been here 3 years. And honestly, I'm living my best life. If you couldn't ask for a better company, a better team, and better opportunity than what I'm doing today.
That's fantastic. Love to hear it. So tell me a little bit more about Total Expert.
Yeah, so Total Expert built for financial services. Right now, really heavy in mortgage because that's what we were built to serve at first. But when you think about the industry challenges on the financial services side, mortgage, banking, insurance, data cures everything. And these companies have a ton of data. The problem with it is that you take a look at Rocket Mortgage and they leverage data. to create, next actions, best responses, and retention, right? And in a world where people aren't interacting, as much one-on-one human to human anymore, but more digitally, you have to understand what that data looks like to be able to create, customer for life, retention, relationship, experience, and all of those types of things. And so what Total Expert does is solves for that need. This is leveraging data, CRM component, but really marketing automation and communication automation by bringing data together and orchestrating an experience through technology to create and build deeper relationships with their customers, helping salespeople close more loans or more deals, having more opportunities, but really kind of being able to orchestrate an experience as a brand totally and holistically from the internal staff, from sales, operations, executives, and then leveraging that to drive the experience for the consumers.
Mm-hmm. I think that's, an important to note that your history really sets you up to succeed at Total Expert, it sounds like, with your experience and titles and all of that. So, a little bit more about Total Expert. You talked a little bit about CRM and a customer engagement platform. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, we started 10, 12 years ago as a co-marketing platform. And I don't know if you know what co-marketing, but thinking about mortgage and realtor joining together compliantly, because there's a lot of different complexities around that workflow and that motion. But building something where realtors and loan officers can come together and jointly market to grow their business, right? And off of that, CRM started to come out. And we're still creating the story on CRM and all of that, but then marketing came out, and the automation piece. Making it easy to deploy and create and craft a scalable experience based off of the data inside of the CRM. But then, opening up the APIs to get more data, creating the opportunities to pull in and orchestrate all of the technology at a bank, at a credit union, at a mortgage lender, at an insurance company, to then drive and scale an experience from that data. Because again, data is key. Like if you have the data, you got to put it in a cart and you've got to tell it where to go and what to do next. We have Waze, right? That Waze does that. We have the Tesla, self-driving and all that. That's where we need to go. And that's what we need to do. We don't want to replace Total Expert, a human. What we want to do is we want to make the human stand out even more so than they've ever done, because they already know what's next. And so, bringing the CRM component into play for Total Expert was important because we needed to have that data repository. We needed to have a place to store that data so that then we can automate and drive the experiences from that. So the CRM component came into play, but now we're just innovating to that. We're not a company that's resting on what we do today. Our platform looks different every quarter because of the releases and things like that. And we're really focused on driving that best experience for our end users.
Would you say one of the biggest challenges that your customers have before they start working with Total Expert is not knowing how to really leverage that data?
That and technology, orchestrating technology, right? Again, a lot of companies in the financial services sector either have a ton of technology that they've bought. And I think I want to make it really clear that, we've always this industry has always had technology. But really, this new wave of tech started when push button get mortgage came out with Rocket. That was really the and I don't want to say this, but that's where everything took off. Was that moment where the industry realized, holy crap, we need to do more. And all of the, from 2013 on, the amount of technology offerings and platforms that have come out is crazy. But when you think about that, we're 10 years into that cycle. And so when you think about bringing all of that technology together to create an experience and stop the silo effect of that tech, it's really tough because we only have people that have been doing it for 10 years. And so our job, one of our jobs is to bring it all together and centralize all of that data to then create that experience. So yes, number one, there's no automation. They have data, they don't know what to do with it. But number two, they have technology and that also has that data, and they're not bringing all of that together and know what to do with it. So it's a couple different components that we're bringing together for, financial services.
Yeah. It sounds like, you guys really work at Total Expert to be a partner and really help, companies leverage their data and, be able to grow and expand with their customer engagement.
Absolutely. We don't look at ourselves as a vendor to anybody. We are, obviously. And we're, especially when you have to go through the vendor management processes at some of these banks and lenders. But once the engagement starts, we really truly look to that company to be friends, to build that relationship, to show them that, you know what, we're here to make you successful, and we're not going to be successful if we don't do that. So the focus is really put on that lender, that logo that we bring in, to make sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to get them the most ROI and the most effectiveness from our platform to that company.
And to your point of, talking about how that you're able to leverage that and be a partner, I have a kind of a two-pronged question. One is, the emphasis on supporting your clients as a partner. And then also two, I want to pick your brain. Is that one of the ways that Total Expert's really able to stand out? And if it is, are there other ways that you guys are really able to take it to that next level?
Yeah, I think that, over the course of Total Expert or any successful technology company, you have to take that approach of listening first, bringing in some sort of empathy in that listening, but then coming up with a solution together, right? It can't be, hey, we're Total Expert, we know more than you because we're developing this, right? It's got to be, hey, we're Total Expert, we know how to build it, but what are we actually doing, right? And so it's really, if you think about what we've built, it's built by the mortgage industry for the mortgage industry. And now we're building bank by bank for bank. We're going to build insurance by insurance for insurance, because we're listening to our customers. We're listening to the industries to do that. So that's where the partnership focus really kind of comes into play. But we're not also resting on what we have. We're reinvesting in our platform because our customers and our prospects and the industries are telling us this is what we need next. So we're not okay with being okay. We're not, good with being good. We're not great with being great. We want to be perfect, and we're never going to be there. But we're always working towards that end goal of creating that perfect customer experience for our customers so that they can do the same thing for theirs.
I think that's fantastic. And, Jon, pivoting a little bit, I'm curious to pick your brain. You've been in the industry for some time now. Are there a lot of common misconceptions that people think, this is the way it is, but that's not necessarily true?
I think that people think that within, like, especially mortgage, you can sell it. I mean, the relationships in mortgage are key. I don't care who you are. I mean, you can, if you have relationships, you can get into anywhere. And so I think that within mortgage, and I'm really kind of starting to learn the whole banking side of things too, and it's feeling a lot similar, where relationships hold everything. And it's the big one of the largest industries. It's obviously a $4 trillion, $5 trillion industry, but everybody knows everybody, right? So I mean, coming in, it's not closed off. Like, people are willing to have conversations if you're willing to have the conversations with them. It's very it's unique. And when you think about going to these large conferences and all of that, like, it's kind of a family. So I think that would be one misconception. But the other misconception, I think, is that we actually know how to do technology, bank, insurance, mortgage. Like, there's a ton of tech out there, and there's a lot of really cool stuff, but we're still learning. The lenders are still learning. The banks are still learning what to actually do, what to actually buy, how to actually buy it. So I think that's the other thing, is that from a sales point of view, you have to actually teach these people how to buy and then what to do with it next. And you have to be focused on building, number one, having the relationship with that people so you can actually do that. So I think that is another one. People see, all the cool technology that's out there, but we still don't know what it actually. There's a lot of companies that actually don't know what it actually does or how it actually does. They're not getting the most out of it. So we're still learning.
One of those things, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. And again, when you think about it, a lot of these companies and a lot of this tech has come out since like 2013 or enhanced since 2013. And they're even trying to figure out what the impact is. So we're still young on the technology side in this industry, which most industries are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jon, as we start to wrap up this call, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either about the mortgage and banking industry, about Total Expert, anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, don't rest on what you're doing today and thinking that it's going to be okay. I think that, people really kind of talk about, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. I think today, more importantly, and I got to give credit to Sue Woodard because she's the one who's said this, and it really resonates with me. Is today people think that if they do the same thing, they're going to get the same result. Because it's been, wildly successful in banking and mortgage over the last, 10 years, things have changed and you have to think differently. You have to evolve as a company. You have to evolve your technology. You have to always be willing to want more and ask questions and look for more, and then also be willing to do it, right? Looking isn't just enough. You have to, if you're going to look and you're going to have go out and say, oh, we want this or we need this, don't just look to look. Have a strategy around what if I like this and how are we going to do this and implement it? Because if you don't, somebody else is doing this and they're going to beat you. So to me, it's just evolving your company, evolving your mindset, evolving what you're doing every single day to make sure that you're being better. And technology plays such a huge role in that. So not being afraid to adopt and engage with the technology that you have, number one, but also going out and grabbing new stuff.
Yeah, Jon. Well, I think that's a great little bit to leave our listeners with. I think this was a great conversation talking about the importance of the customer experience, really how Total Expert can support, and leverage client data. I think this was, a great conversation. I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelsey. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you.